Hey, BCista here, and welcome to week one of the WDC. So this week we are playing against TomElvis and Atletico de Mawile. I've played against them a couple of times before, and I think overall I've had a pretty good record against them. So I'm hoping to continue that trend. However, let's see the matchup. So this is their team on the right and my team on the left. So for some notable things on their team is they have a very strong electric terrain mode with Pincurchin. They have Raichu that has the ability to get double the speed in electric terrain. They have Driftbloom that has Unburden, and if you get Electric Seed, it can double its speed in terrain. And then you have three Paradox Mons that future Paradox Mons that can benefit from the electric terrain, in which they can get a stat boost and Boulder, Iron Valiant, and Iron Bundle. And so with that, they have the ability to be very fast because they have, very fast Tailwind with Drifloom, and then all these mons that I mentioned can get speed boosts with the electric terrain. In addition, they might get attack or special attack boosts to just do more damage. So in addition to that, they have some really good disruption in Morgrim, which can set screens, can do pranks or taunt, can fake out, and then they also have Brute Bonnet that has the ability to spore or rage powder. So definitely a lot of annoyance. However, they do have a lot of overlapping types. For example, they have three or four psychic Pokemon. They have double electric Pokemon, double dark Pokemon. And so they definitely have some weaknesses in that and overall their coverage. And so I think that's the best way to kind of abuse that. And so with this, like I said, there's quite a few mons that I'm somewhat interested in. I'm in particularly interested in like Arcanine because it's really good offensively into a lot of their threats, and Intimidate seems good. I'm very interested in Raging Bolt because though they have Clodsire, a lot of their mons can either not do much damage to it or it does very good damage to that Pokemon. And so there's a couple other mons, but with that we can kind of I'll just kind of go into what I ended up bringing. So here is the team I ended up bringing. So we start with Sinistra. So first off, I think Sinistra is pretty good at being able to switch in, heal my Pokemon, because there's a couple of really bulky mons that I think are going to be really good, namely the Raging Bolt and Arcanine that you can see down there. Rage Powder seems really impactful because though they have a lot of threats, they kind of are in a situation where they don't have great spread coverage damage wise, and with that, Rage Powder should be really good. And then Machagacha Shadow Ball hits pretty much everything on their team except for Brute Bonnet, and which I hope to be able to deal with Brute Bonnet with bonds like Arcanine. So next up we have Gliscor. So Gliscor I in particularly like because they have a lot of electric Pokemon. They offensively it threatens a lot of their big threats, such as Iron Valiant, it hits with dual wing beat. Iron Boulder hits with high horsepower. Brute Bonnet hits with dual wing beat. And then with the Toxic Orb and Poison Heal, if I protect turn one, I can get poison. And then I'll be immune to Spore, which is a really big deal. And in addition to that, just being pretty bulky. Steel is also a really good defensive type in this week, and I have multiple Terra Steel mons for that specific reason. Other than that, Gliscor I think is pretty good at being able to be immune to the flying moves, and the only thing that really threatens it too much is going to be that Iron Bundle. Next up, we have Volbeat. So Volbeat, I decided to go with Covert Cloak in order to prevent Fake Out from Morgrim. But I definitely could see an argument for something like a Mint Orb or something like that. But I decided on going with Tailwind and Encore. I decided against Taunt because a lot of their mons I'd want to taunt are Dark types. And then we went with Light Screen and Lunge. So Light Screen can help special defense. Lunge can help deal with lowering special or physical attack. And so it basically has the ability to Encore lock somebody, set up Tailwind for some C control, and then has mainly ways to reduce damage. Volbeat, I definitely didn't know this when I drafted it, but I was able to make it really bulky this week, and it survives every single thing on my opponent's team, which is really impressive. Because Volbeat I did not think was going to be that bulky. Next up, we have Raging Bolt with Booster Energy, so we get a special attack boost. The idea behind that is boost electric, Booster Energy, Terra Electric, Raging Bolt one-shots a lot of Pokemon with Thunderclap. Specifically, it's going to one-shot Iron Bundle, which is completely expected, but also can one-shot Iron Boulder and Iron Valiant if I Terra, which is incredibly impressive since both of those mons are quite fast and can do pretty good chunks of damage. And that's kind of the main idea behind that. Other than that, we just kind of got some other coverage in case we want to play around them, not doing a damaging move. But definitely, seems really powerful because that Thunderclap is really good offensively into their team because they don't have a large number of resists. And so other than the Brute Bonnet, most things are going to be one shot or 70 plus percentage to the Thunderclap. And so I was also able to invest a lot of bulk so I don't have to do much speed. So next up we have Arcanine. So Arcanine I think is very good, especially with the Terra Grass. We're Terra Grass, so we can take water moves and ground moves, but also so we can ignore Rage Powder and Spore from Brute Bonnet. This is a pretty standard Assault Vest set. I give it enough speed so that I guarantee outspeed Iron Bundle, Booster Speed, Iron Bundle in Tailwind. And then we just have a pretty standard set in Flare Blitz, Head Smash, Rock Slide, and Extreme Speed. So, Rock Slide plus Head Smash just says, the coverage move and then huge damage, and then Flare Blitz to hit the things that rock moves don't hit, and then Extreme Speeds to finish up some attacks. We have the Intimidate, obviously, because they have a lot of physical attackers that are somewhat annoying, like Iron Bundle. But other than that, it's like a pretty standard, straightforward set. And then finally, we have Greninja. Greninja, I decided to go with Torrent because I don't want to lose my Water Stab because of the drop, or because Protean is now worse, because now if I protected turn 1, for example, I would not change into a water type if I attacked the next turn. And so I wanted to keep the water typing, so I kept Torrent. And the reason I want that is so I can Hydro Cannon specifically one-shots Iron Boulder and one-shots Iron Valiant if it's not particularly bulky, and one-shots bulky Iron Valiant if I'm in Torrent range or if I Terra Water. And then I have Dark Pulse as from some general stab, and then U-turn. U-turn both helps me pivot, so I can bring in Pokemon like Sinistcha to kill some of my bulkier mons like Arcanine and Raging Bolt, but also it helps me deal with Iron Bundle, in which I don't have a way to hit. And it does more damage than Ice Beam would have, and that's why I decided to get U-turn on it specifically. And so with that is my team. Before we get into the match, this is what I was given before the match. We got to see they ended up bringing these mons. They have a Terra Ice Iron Boulder, which means that they're almost certainly going to have Terra Blast. We have Brute Bonnet with Terra Water, which means it's most likely going to be a little bit bulkier. We have the Pincurchin with Terra Ground, which mainly just shows that they have the Drifloon mode, which I'm assuming with Tailwind and Electric Seed. And then we have Iron Valiant, Iron Bundle is just some fast mons, with Iron Valiant being Dragon and Iron Bundle being Stellar. This Stellar Terra is really nice to know, which means that I can very cleanly always attack it with moves like Extreme Speed, Thunderclap. Whereas if it was a Terra Ghost or Terra Ground, it could be a little bit awkward in that I couldn't hit it with those. And then the Terra Dragon and Iron Valiant is not too big of a deal. It just means that random Flare Blitz might not be super effective, but I don't have a huge number of moves super effective into Iron Valiant, so it ends up not being too bad for me. So with that, let's get into the match. So here we are for game 1. So looking at their team, my first thing I want to I think that Arcanine with Volbeat seems like a really great lead. The reason behind that is that they seem to be leaning probably a little bit more Tailwind, and so if I set up Tailwind myself, I can outspeed them, and Arcanine can threaten to one-shot Drifloon with Head Smash if they don't Terra. In addition to that, the Volbeat Arcanine is, I think, also just kind of the most generic neutral lead, in which it gives me a reasonable number of play against kind of anything they could bring, because I have Light Screen to deal with them if they lean special, I have Arcanine's Intimidate to deal with them if they lean physical, and then I also have the ability to Terra Grass to prevent them from like sporing or rage powdering with the Brute Bonnet. So with that, I decided to just go with kind of the standard back mons, which is Raging Bolt and Sinistcha. The reason behind Sinistcha is so Volbeat can very quickly become kind of a little bit dead weight after the first couple of turns. So bringing in Sinistcha, healing Arcanine is really helpful. Also, it's really good, defensively into a fair number of the mons, and then offensively into the mons that it's weak defensively into. And then Raging Bolt is just incredibly powerful, especially with if they do outspeed me, being able to get Thunderclaps off. And so with that, let's get into the game. So they end up leading Iron Boulder, Brute Bonnet, and I lead the Volbeat and Arcanine. I'm expecting one of these to be Clear Amulet. However, I end up getting an Intimidate off, and neither of them are Clear Amulet, which is really good for me, which means that they're both going to be at -1 attack. We see they end up getting a booster energy on the Brute Bonnet. However, they get a special defense boost, which ends up being completely irrelevant because both my mods are physical. I'm expecting that they might have gotten a physical attack boost if I didn't Intimidate them. And so here, I definitely want to Terra because Iron Boulder can do a fair chunk of damage if they just did a rock move into it. And also, I don't really want to get in a position where they spore my Arcanine because Arcanine looks really good here. And so I decided to just Terra it. And the debate is between Rock Slide and Head Smash. I decided to just go for Rock Slide because I don't think Head Smash is going to kill either of them. And here I decided to just go for a Lunge into Root Bonnet because if they don't Terra, that Rock Slide and Lunge probably is going to kill. And if they do Terra, it gets their Root Bonnet down to -2 attack. And we're Terra Grass, and they end up tearing. I could definitely be a little bit concerned if this was Terra Ice and they made the hard read and go for Terra Blast into Arcanine this turn. However, they just go for Terra Water into Brew Bonnet, which means it's almost certainly going to survive the turn. However, I'm not particularly concerned with that because I do have Arcanine. And they end up just going for a Rage Powder, which ends up being not that big of a deal because I went for the Rock Slide. They are faster as I expected, and we see that they end up doing a pretty good chunk of damage because they're Life Orb with the Iron Boulder. Rock Slide does okay damage to the two of them, and we just end up going for the Lunge on the Brute Bonnet. So here I considered, switching Volbeat out into Sinisha, but I'm a little sad not getting any healing, so I decided to just go for the Head Smash and the Tailwind. I can go around a Rage Powder because I'm Grassier, and Head Smash likely kills from this range. And I think I should be able to take a Sucker Punch pretty comfortably, especially now that Brute Bonnet's at -2 attack. So they end up Rage Powdering with Brute Bonnet, which is huge for me because I completely can ignore it with my two moves because I went for Tailwind with Volbeat and the Head Smash, which because I'm Terra Grass, I ignore the Rage Powder. And this lets me get a clean kill on Iron Boulder, which ends up making this turn really good for me because I get a free Tailwind up and a free kill on their Mon. And I definitely feel like I'm in great shape. So they bring out Iron Bundle, and I outspeed Iron Bundle, and I should be able to one-shot it with Head Smash. However, I'm very certain they're going to be Focus Sash with the Iron Bundle, so I decided it's not worth going for the Head Smash because of that, and I just go for the Rock Slide to get Iron Bundle into chip range next time, and I go for the Encore onto the Brute Bonnet. I think that they ended up forgetting this last turn. However, they ended up just going Rage Powder again, which is a little bit funny because I ended up going Encoring them into it. However, I definitely was not expecting that because, like I said, I thought last turn the reason they Rage Powder was because they forgot that the Terra Grass Arcanine ignored it. However, now I feel like I'm in great shape because I'm at -1 speed. However, with Tailwind up, I should outspeed because they are not booster speed. And I can just go for another Rock Slide and kill this and switch into Sinistra and get free HP here. Because they encore or because the Brute Bonnet is encored into the Rage Powder, it can't do anything, and I should outspeed Brute Bonnet and kill it if I do attack. And so we get a little of HP back with Hospitality, and they end up switching out Brute Bonnet, which makes sense since it's literally doing nothing here. And they bring in Pincurchin. And Pincurchin could be a little annoying because if they do get a special speed boost with this, they could outspeed Arcanine, and maybe Ice Beam does kill Arcanine from this range. However, Iron Bundle ends up getting a special attack boost, which is really big because with special attack, I'm going to outspeed and Tailwind, even though I'm at -1. And so with this, we get a little bit of chip damage with Rock Slide into the Pincurchin. Iron Bundle protects so I don't kill it, but I feel pretty good about that because now I can just go for another Rock Slide, which will kill the Iron Bundle, and go for a Matcha Gotcha, which will kill the Pincurchin probably with that double up. I considered Rage Powder as well because just to make sure I survive that Ice Beam, and I ended up doing that. I'm not sure if that was the correct play because, like I said, I think I should always outspeed this iron bundle, and so it seemed pretty safe to just go for the matcha gotcha. So maybe it was better to just do that. So as I said, I went for the rock slide or the rage powder. I mean, and we go for the rock slide as well. The rock slide, as I said, I outspeed iron bundle because they didn't get a speed boost, and um, you know, at this point, we can see that Rage Powder ended up not doing anything. And if I would have just Matcha Gotcha, there's a good chance it probably would have killed Pincurchin, or at least got it low enough in which it would definitely be in range of Extreme Speed, where right now it probably takes an Extreme Speed. However, I feel like I'm in amazing shape because Brute Bonnet is a water type right now, which means Matcha Gotcha definitely kills it, and I can just go for a head smash and Matcha Gotcha, which will get the double knockout. I think this is probably a little bit overly risky. I probably should have just gone for a Flare Blitz to kill the Pincurchin with, and then gone for Matcha Gotcha just to get a guaranteed kill. However, we connect the head smash, which definitely is nice, which gives us a very clean 4-0 if we connect the Matcha Gotcha, which we do, and Sinistra gets the kill here. So definitely a very commanding game here. I think, however, like I said, if they were speed booster instead of special attack booster on the Iron Bundle, I think there's a chance they could have gotten there, but um, probably not in the end, honestly, because I had priority electric move in the back, which definitely made a lot of these positions really felt pretty good. And so with that, let's go into game two. So here for game two, so the big question is whether or not we think I should switch up in any way because that went incredibly well. Like I said, I 4-0'd. I think there's maybe an argument to switch it up, but I cannot think of a way in which they'd switch up and I'd feel like I'm in a bad position. Like just Terra Grass Arcanine with like light screen up just seems like something they can't break through, especially with Sinistra being able to come in, heal it up a little bit, and then Rage Powder away any possible super effective moves. But I just feel like it's hard to justify anything else because Arcanine, that core just seems really good, and then they didn't even see my last Mon, and so they have to somehow adjust to my lead and the possible Mons in the back. They don't know which ones I brought. But with that, let's get into the match. So they end up leading Iron Bundle, Iron Valiant, so completely different than what they led game one. I get the Intimidate off, and so because I get the Intimidate off, this was my lead last game. I'm expecting Violent to be special, and so with that, I think it's pretty free to just go for a Terra, Grass, and Rock Slide just to get a little bit of chip. And instead of going for like a Tailwind to try to get speed control, because I'm not going to kill either of them, just get the light screen up because I think both of these are special attackers, and the light screen should make Arcanine really hard to kill because of my Assault Vest, and then this extra layer of damage prevention. But yes, we get our turn one Terra Grass again, and the light screen goes up, which, like I said, I think puts us in a pretty good position here. They go just for an Icy Wind with Iron Bundle, which makes sense. It's going to slower us, do a little bit of spread damage, and honestly does reasonable damage to Arcanine. And the Aura Sphere also does not too bad damage, but I definitely feel pretty good. I should be able to take a double up next turn. And at this point, I feel pretty good about just going for another Rock Slide and setting up Tailwind now that Light Screen is up. I guarantee to outspeed both of them unless they can get a speed boost with Iron Valiant. And at this point, it also make it such that an Ice Beam can't really come out from Iron Bundle unless I get outsped or unless I miss a Rock Slide. So I switch out Iron Bundle into Pincurchin, which could be a little annoying if they get the speed boost with Iron Valiant because then they add speed. But like we saw last time, I don't think they're going to do enough damage for me to super care. And Iron Valiant ends up getting a special attack boost instead of a speed boost. And so ends up not being too big of a deal either way. And so we just get a Rock Slide off. We outspeed now, even though we're at -1. We get a huge chunk of damage on Pincurchin because of a crit. And we end up flinching Iron Valiant, which is huge. So at this point, I feel like Iron Valiant might be in range of Flare Blitz. And so I decided to go for the Flare Blitz there and switching in Sinistra in order to heal my Arcanine to make sure I survive the turn. because with the flare blitz recoil and getting hit by a move, there's a chance I could go down here if I don't get this extra health. We switch into Sinistra, get a little bit of health on the Arcanine, putting it in a pretty good healthy position. And we end up going for the flare blitz, as I mentioned, and just barely miss out on the KO. I definitely was expecting that to KO, but it's not too surprising since I'm not super offensively leaning. They go for a Moonblast, which honestly does a pretty good chunk of damage. However, with that and the Electro Web, I still feel like I'm in pretty good shape. However, now that I'm at -2 at speed, Arcanine is definitely going to get outsped by Iron Valiant, so I definitely feel forced to go for extreme speed to just kill it. And I decided to just go for the Machigacha because I think there's a good chance I might be able to kill Pincurchin if it becomes single target. And if it doesn't go single target, because they protect Iron Valiant, it's still going to do a reasonable chunk of damage. Pincurchin protects, however, Iron Valiant does not protect, which is great for me because I get just go for the extreme speed and get the clean kill on Iron Valiant. And so with that, they now are only down to 2 Pokemon, which puts me in a really good shape because here I can just go for the Machigacha. Nothing happens. However, now they're down to just 2 Pokemon, which means I can fairly cleanly pivot out and bring back Intimidates and things like that. So they bring out Iron Boulder here. And so with Iron Boulder coming out, I definitely, and getting a speed boost here, I definitely feel the desire to switch out because I'm at -2 speed, so Iron Boulder is going to outspeed me, and they probably can kill me from this range. And I really would like to have Intimidate up later on. And so here I could see an argument for setting up Trick Room, but I decided to just go for the Machigacha because there's the possibility of burning, and if they don't Terra this Iron Boulder, I do massive chunks of damage. So with this, I switch out the Arcanine. Like I said, I think this is a pretty reasonable one. Like I said, Volbeat kind of did its job, so I'm fine if it goes down here. However, they just switch out into the Iron Bundle, and Iron Bundle, if I connect with this Machigacha, I feel like I'm in amazing shape at being able to just kill this Iron Boulder, and they end up just protecting Iron Boulder, which is massive. I definitely was a little bit concerned because they went for Terra Ice, Terra Blast into my Sinistra. There's a chance that it could have killed. However, because I connect this Machigacha and Iron Bundle dies, I'm in amazing shape, especially because Iron Boulder just protected, and I ended up switching out Volbeat, which means that I'm able to get an Encore off, and with that, I pretty much should be able to lock this game up because Iron Boulder is pretty much guaranteed locked, and I just need to kill Pincurchin, and the match should be over. So with here, I think I'd probably make a slight misplay. I probably should have just gone for a Shadow Ball instead of a Machigacha, but I decided I don't want to do Machigacha just because I like Machigacha. It's a fun move. So they go for the Terra Ice, Terrakion, and like I said, are probably going to go for Terra Blast into Sinistra, which would be really powerful if I didn't have the ability to Encore them here. And now they are stuck into Protect for pretty much as long as Volbeat is still alive, which seems very likely since Pincurchin is not super damage threat here, especially with the moveset we've seen them of so far. So we get a pretty good chunk of damage on both and ended up burning the Pincurchin. And they just go for Electric Web, which does a reasonable chunk of damage, but definitely not enough. And because the Iron Boulder failed Protect, I know that I cannot hit it this next turn, so I decided to just go for Tailwind and Shadow Ball to get the guaranteed kill on Pincurchin, as Iron Boulder gets a guaranteed Protect here. And we just get the Tailwind up, and the Shadow Ball should kill Pincurchin here, and even if it does it somehow, the burn will definitely kill it. And we do in fact get the kill with it, getting another crit, which I'm probably pretty sure did not matter. And so at this point, I think this game is completely locked. It's just basically the question of how long it's going to take. They have one more turn of Encore, and we can just go for the Lunge Shadow Ball, getting guaranteed damage into it. However, they end up getting the double Protect, which is slightly annoying, but it doesn't in the end really matter because, like I said, I have Encore guaranteed that the game will be over. So the Encore ended, but we can just Encore them again, and get a Shadow Ball off. Like I said, this game is pretty much guaranteed over. It's just gonna take a couple of turns. But with that, I'm pretty happy with this week. I ended up getting two 4-0s, so definitely very impressive of a turnout. I definitely got a little bit lucky on a couple of plays here or there, but I don't think there I was super in threat of losing if those threats ended up, if those like luck ended up changing too much. Um, and Here I decided to switch out to Raging Bolt for no reason other than I think it's fun to actually see Raging Bolt hit the field because I've yet to use it before, and so actually using it sounds fun. And I just go for some damage, because it ends up not really mattering with the Iron Boulder because it's just going to protect this turn, and it protects as expected. And like I said, at this point, it, if they fail their protect next turn, we just kill them with a double up, and if they do double protect, then I just kill them with a thunderclap from the Raging Bolt. They end up getting the double protect. So we have to state one more turn, which is slightly annoying, but like I said, this end game is just a formality at this point. Encore it ends, but it's not too big of a deal because Thunderclap definitely kills from this range, and we just double attack just in case it doesn't for some reason, and we Thunderclap and get the kill. And so with that, we win week 1. So good start of the season, a nice 2-0 win in which not only did we 2-0, we actually 4-0'd both games. So that means we did not lose a single Pokemon. So definitely a really solid start of the season. Really excited, and I was really happy to use some of these fun mods, and hopefully the season goes well. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next week.